Welcome to part 2 in our Rambo Survival series. Today, we're going to try to use the Rambo knife to construct a spear trap. So all we're going to need to construct the spring spear trap is, of course, a Rambo Survival knife, some cordage, then all the rest of the components, including the trigger mechanism, the spears, the spear pole arm, and the poles we're going to need, we simply make from wood. Of course, you're going to need your pole arm or your spring arm, which is going to be the main part of your trap. To that, you're going to attach your spikes. You'll need a pole to attach the beginning of the trip line. And then you're going to have to construct your trigger system like this. All this is a nice sturdy pole that you can put into the ground a fair distance to make it nice and sturdy so it won't fall over. Then it's going to have this cross member with a notch. This notch is a bit exaggerated, but it takes some practice to get it right. You'll probably want something a bit shallower. And also, you're going to have the trigger, which sets in the notch. And you're going to tie that off onto this pole. When selecting the pole for the main part of your spring spear trap, you're going to need something that obviously has some spring to it, so that when bent, it's going to return quickly with a lot of energy back to its original position. So obviously, you're going to need something that's alive. And I think this here is going to provide us with everything we need to construct our trap. Honesty is what we do here at Huckleberry Bastion, so I think I'm going to give up on trying to use the Rambo Survival knife to construct our spear trap. It's just, I'm not having an easy go of it. It keeps going loose, and every time I chop, I have to retighten it. So what I've done is, instead of setting up a couple stakes, I've wedged the main part of our trap between a few trees and just lashed it in. This is a bit easier, but it doesn't allow you as much flexibility in setting your trap up along a game trail if you can't find the trees to set it up. Should avoid anything with dried out, weak area, because under stress it might break. So we're going to cut like a cabin notch into this piece, also into this piece. That way when we attach them, they're less likely to slip around. I found this trigger setup a bit easier than the ones explained in the SAS survival manual. It's a bit easy, but it takes some tweaking to get working. All it is a notch and a peg, and that peg's held into place by the notch, the force of your main pole, and it's tied down here to this support pole. Set the trap off, it's fairly easy. Your trip line pulls the peg out of the notch, and that releases the arm to swing forward. The idea is that your animal comes along, hits the trip line, that pulls on the trigger and releases the arm, which then brings your spikes forward and hopefully into your prey. So for the purpose of this demonstration, I've done a few things just to be a little safe. One, I have the tripwire running away to a safe distance so I can trip it. Normally you're going to have the tripwire setting in the kill zone so that when it's tripped, the arm swings in towards where the wire is at. Also, I've just put some blunted spear points on the end, so if there's any accidents, probably just get a bruise instead of getting speared. I'm going to give it a try and see if we can set it off. At one point in the movie, when the spear was stuck into one of the police officers, the chief came over and immediately pulled the spear out of his legs. Now, every first aid class is going to tell you that that's a bad idea because it opens the wound and it allows it to bleed. If it was Rambo's intent at setting the spear at waist level to just maim and slow down his enemy, it was a bad idea because you have femoral arteries running through your legs, and if a spear were to sever or impale one of those arteries, you'd be in a lot of trouble. So this type of trap is very dangerous and should never stand in the kill zone when the trap is set. And should take great care in setting it so that at no point can you ever get stuck with the spears. If you're practicing these skills, if you're building this kind of trap, it's important that when you're done, you dismantle it and never leave it set. You don't want somebody to come on it and get injured. Now I wanted to construct this trap, just like the spear in the last video, only using the Rambo knife, since that's all that Rambo had with him. But the failings of this knife and the weakness of how the knife is attached to the handle just made it too difficult. I could have struggled through, but it would have taken a lot more time and would have been very frustrating. The tools I used to construct this were my XXX bushcrafting knife, made by XXX Knives here in Nova Scotia, and a backhoe saw. Well, I hope that gives you some idea of how to go about making the spring spear trap, just like Rambo did in the movie. Can you make it with the Rambo knife? Probably not. But if you have a good quality knife, you can do it. Well, that's it for the day. I'd like to thank everybody for watching, and stay tuned for the next videos. I might even try to tackle some more movies that have a little bit of survival skills in them. You can make it. Rambo could have made it. Could he have made it with his knife? Possibly, but